You walk into the office. You smile. You hold the door. You say please and thank you. You play by the rules. And while you are doing all of this, while you are being a good person, someone else is taking your promotion. Someone else is sleeping with your partner. Someone else is manipulating the narrative so that when you finally notice what is happening, you are the villain in everyone else's story. You have been taught that morality is a virtue, that if you are kind, honest, and fair, the universe will reward you, that good things come to those who wait, that karma is real. Let me tell you what morality actually is. It is a cage. A beautiful, ornate cage that society built specifically to keep you controllable while the predators roam free. Machiavelli understood what modern psychologists are now confirming with brain scans and behavioral studies. The world is not divided into good people and bad people. It is divided into the moral and the strategic. And in every interaction, in every negotiation, in every relationship, the strategist devours the moralist. Not because the strategist is evil, but because the moralist is playing a different game entirely. A game they do not even know they are losing. Today, we are going to perform a psychological autopsy on morality itself. We are going to dissect why your conscience is a liability, why empathy is a weapon that is constantly turned against you, why the very traits you were praised for as a child are the exact traits that make you prey as an adult. By the end of this, you will see the invisible predators all around you. You will understand why they always seem to win, and you will face a choice. Continue playing by rules that only you are following, or step into the shadows where power actually lives. But I warn you, once you see this, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand how the game really works, you will notice the strings on everyone around you. And you will realize that some of those strings are attached to you. Let's begin. Your parents told you to share. Your teachers told you to be fair. Your religion told you to turn the other cheek. Society wrapped these instructions in the language of nobility. Be compassionate. Be honest. Be selfless. But have you ever asked yourself why? Why is an entire civilization so invested in making sure you behave morally? The answer is control. Morality is not a divine law. It is a social construct designed to make large groups of humans cooperate without constantly murdering each other. And that is fine for building civilizations. But here is what they do not tell you. Morality only works when everyone follows it. The moment even one person in your environment decides that morality is optional, the entire system collapses. And you, the moral one, become the most exploitable person in the room. Research in evolutionary psychology confirms this. Cooperation evolved because it was beneficial to the group. Humans who worked together survived. But alongside cooperation, another strategy evolved: defection. The person who pretends to cooperate but secretly takes more than they give. The free rider, the manipulator, the predator. These people are not anomalies. They are a consistent percentage of every population. Studies on the dark triad personality traits show that between 1 and 15% of people possess elevated levels of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. That means in a room of 20 people, at least 1 or 2 of them view morality as a costume they wear when convenient. And here is the devastating part. Those 1 to 3 people have a disproportionate impact, because while you are wasting energy trying to be fair, they are gaming the system. While you are agonizing over whether you did the right thing, they are already 3 moves ahead, using your hesitation against you. While you are signaling your trustworthiness, they are cataloging your weaknesses. Morality is expensive. It costs you time, energy, and opportunities. Every time you tell the truth when a lie would benefit you, every time you keep a promise when breaking it would be easier, every time you sacrifice your own needs for someone else's, you are paying a tax, the moral tax. And the predators? They do not pay it. They collect it. Think about your workplace. You have a coworker who is less competent than you but somehow always gets the credit. How do they do it? They lie. They take credit for your work. They flatter the boss. They throw you under the bus in private conversations while smiling at you in meetings. You could do the same things. You have the intelligence. You have the information. But you do not, because you have internalized a moral framework that says those behaviors are wrong, so you stay silent. You do the right thing. You wait for merit to be recognized, and you wait, and you wait, and eventually you watch that coworker get promoted while you get a generic email about budget constraints. This is not an accident. This is predation. And you were selected as prey because you broadcasted your moral limitations. You showed them exactly where your boundaries are. And boundaries in the eyes of a strategist are just maps of how to exploit you. Now, let us talk about relationships. You've been in one where you gave everything. You were loyal. You were honest. You communicated. You compromised, and your partner? They lied. They manipulated. They kept you off balance with intermittent reinforcement, affection, then coldness, promises, then betrayals. Just enough hope to keep you locked in, just enough pain to keep you trying harder. You stayed because you believed in commitment. You believed that love meant enduring. That if you just explained your feelings clearly enough, they would understand. That if you just loved them harder, they would change. But here is what was actually happening. Every time you explained your feelings, you were giving them a manual on how to hurt you more effectively. Every time you forgave them, you were teaching them that there are no consequences for betraying you. Every boundary you set and then softened, every ultimatum you delivered and then retracted was data. And they used that data to calculate exactly how much they could take from you without losing access to whatever resources you provided. This is the core function of morality in a predator-prey dynamic. Your morality is predictable. Predictability is vulnerability. And vulnerability is food. Let me show you how this works at the neurological level. Neuroscience research on moral decision-making reveals that when you make a moral choice, your brain activates regions associated with social cognition, empathy, and reward processing. You literally feel good when you do the right thing. Your brain releases oxytocin and serotonin. You feel connected. You feel virtuous. This is your biological reward for cooperating. But people with elevated dark triad traits process social information differently. Brain imaging studies show reduced activity in regions associated with empathy and moral concern. When they lie to you, their brain does not light up with guilt. When they exploit you, they do not feel remorse. They feel satisfaction. Because their reward centers activate in response to winning, not to cooperating. You are playing for connection. They are playing for conquest. And those are not the same game, let me be clear. I am not saying these people are monsters. I am saying they are playing a different strategy. A strategy that evolution has preserved precisely because it works. In environments with finite resources, where not everyone can win, the person willing to defect first often gains a massive advantage. And once they have that advantage, they can afford to occasionally perform acts that look moral, which makes them even harder to detect. This is why the most dangerous predators in your life are not the obvious villains. They are the charming ones, the ones everyone likes, the ones who tell you they are just like you but somehow always come out on top. Research on social predators confirms this. They groom their victims. They build trust slowly, probe boundaries carefully, and desensitize you to small violations until you no longer recognize the big ones. They do not announce their predation. They disguise it as friendship, mentorship, romance, or concern. And because you are moral, because you have been taught to assume good intentions, you give them access. You give them time. You give them information. You give them power. And by the time you realize what has happened, they have already moved on to the next target, leaving you to blame yourself for not seeing it sooner. So why does morality fail? Because it operates on a fundamental assumption that is false. The assumption of reciprocity. You believe that if you treat people well, they will treat you well. That if you are honest, they will be honest. That if you play fair, they will play fair. This is called the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And it is beautiful. It is noble. And it is catastrophically naive. The golden rule only functions in a society where everyone agrees to follow it. But we do not live in that society. We live in a mixed strategy environment, a world where cooperators and defectors coexist. And in such a world, unconditional cooperation is a death sentence. Game theory, the mathematical study of strategic interaction, proves this. In simulations of repeated interactions, the strategy that wins is not always cooperate. It is tit for tat. Start by cooperating. But the moment someone defects against you, defect back. Match their energy. Punish betrayal. Reward cooperation. But most moral people do not do this. They forgive. They give second chances, third chances, 10th chances. Because they have been taught that forgiveness is virtuous. And it is. But forgiveness without consequences is not virtue. It is permission. You are giving the predator permission to do it again, and they will, because you taught them that there is no cost. Now, some of you are thinking, but if everyone acted like a predator, society would collapse. You are right. That is why predators need you. They need the cooperators, the moral ones, the people who keep the infrastructure running. Predators are parasites, and parasites require a host. If the entire population were predators, there would be no one to exploit. The system would eat itself. But that never happens, because morality is also heritable. Some people are biologically predisposed toward empathy, trust, and fairness. And thank God for that. Because those people build the hospitals, teach the children, and volunteer at food banks. But those people also get devoured in every competitive domain. Business, politics, romance, social hierarchies. Anywhere there's a winner and a loser, the moral person is playing with a handicap. They have rules. The predator does not. They have empathy. The predator does not. They hesitate. The predator does not. And that hesitation, that brief moment where you stop to consider if what you are about to do is right, is the opening they need to destroy you. Let me give you a concrete example. You are in a business meeting. A colleague takes credit for your idea. In that moment, you have two options. Option 1, call them out immediately. Expose the lie. Reclaim your work. This is the strategic move. But it feels aggressive. It feels confrontational. It might make you look petty or jealous, so you hesitate. You tell yourself you will address it later in private. You do not want to make a scene. Option 2, stay silent. You tell yourself the truth will come out eventually, that your boss will notice, that your work speaks for itself. This is the moral move. It feels dignified. It feels mature. But what actually happens? Your colleague gets the credit, gets the recognition, gets the promotion. And you? You get a reputation for being nice, and nice people finish last. Not because the universe is unfair, but because nice people are easy to exploit. The predator in that meeting did not hesitate. They saw an opportunity and took it. They calculated that you would not fight back because fighting back would violate your moral framework. And they were right. You chose dignity over victory. And in the hierarchy of power, dignity is a luxury only the winners can afford. So what is the answer? Do I stand here and tell you to become a predator? To lie, cheat, manipulate, and exploit? No, because that path has its own costs. Predators are lonely. They cannot trust anyone because they know how they operate and they assume everyone else is the same. They cannot build deep relationships because relationships require vulnerability, and vulnerability is weakness. They win in the short term, but they lose in the long term because eventually people figure them out. Eventually the reputation catches up. Eventually they are ostracized. And humans, no matter how dark their triad, are still social animals. Ostracism is psychological death. But I am not telling you to stay moral either, because that path leads to exploitation, resentment, and a quiet life of watching other people take what should have been yours. The answer is a third path. The path Machiavelli himself would have whispered to a prince: appear moral, be strategic. You do not abandon morality. You weaponize it. You understand that morality is a tool, not a religion. You deploy it when it serves you. You withhold it when it does not. You are kind to those who are kind to you. You are ruthless to those who are ruthless to you. You cooperate with cooperators. You punish defectors. You become unreadable. You become formless. The predator looks at you and cannot categorize you. Are you prey? Are you a predator? They do not know. And that uncertainty protects you. This is the game. You signal morality to attract cooperators. You signal strength to repel predators. You smile. You are polite. You help people. But the moment someone crosses you, the moment someone tries to exploit your kindness, you do not forgive. You do not explain. You do not give them a chance to do it again. You simply remove them from your life with surgical precision. No drama, no explanation, just absence. And absence, to someone who is feeding off you, is the most devastating punishment of all. Morality fails in a world of predators because it assumes everyone is playing the same game. But they are not. Some people are building. Some people are taking. And if you do not learn to recognize the difference, you will spend your entire life building things for other people to take. You will be the moral one, the good one, the one everyone takes advantage of. And when you are old and exhausted and you look back at your life, you will wonder why you have so little to show for all that goodness. The answer is simple. You were prey. And prey do not write history. They are just the cost of doing business for those who do. So make the choice right now. Continue being the cooperator in a world that does not reward cooperation. Or become the player who understands that morality is a strategy, not a cage. Protect the good people. Destroy the predators, and never, ever confuse kindness with weakness again. If you are ready to stop being a victim of your own conscience, if you are ready to see the world as it actually is, not as you wish it were, then you know what to do. But do not subscribe because you want to be a good person. Subscribe because you are done being prey. Welcome to the shadows.